Hi, and welcome back to another AnyRPG Development Livestream. In these videos, I livestream the development of the AnyRPG Engine, a 100% free and open source role-playing game engine designed in Unity and written in C#. These videos are unscripted and give you a chance to take a behind-the-scenes look at the unfiltered, methodical side of software development. For more information on AnyRPG, be sure to check out AnyRPG.org, where you can find documentation on the engine, links to the full source code at the official GitHub repository, and downloadable versions of AnyRPG Alpha, a free game designed to showcase the features of the AnyRPG engine. If you'd like to see more of this type of content in the future, be sure to subscribe to the Cohesion YouTube channel, like the videos, or just leave a message in the comments telling me what you'd like to see. In today's episode, we will be continuing the creation of all the example prefabs for our example levels for our Unity package. So the next thing that we need to do is create basically a bunch of skeleton spawners. So I'm actually, I think, just basically going to go into Birch Grove and grab some of those directly out of there. So if we open up Birch Grove, I have my skeleton goblin battle over here and my skeleton goblin battle pairs. And then I've also got, let's see, AI enemy units. We have skeleton multi-spawners and the skeleton warrior spawner and this goblin necromancer spawner. So let's just go ahead and make, actually let's see where the zombie spawner is. I don't think we actually need this one because we already have a zombie attack spawner. So if I go to my scene here and hit F to focus on it, yeah, it's just like an extra zombie in front of the gate, so we don't need one of those, but we do want one of these skeleton multi-spawners. So we'll hit select. I just want to see, is this skeleton warrior spawner that one right there? Yeah, it is. Okay, great. So we've got actually two of the spawners we need there, and then you know what? Let's see, there might be some more even that we can use from here. Goblin necromancer spawner, sure. And yeah, I think that should be okay. Wait a minute, we don't have the goblin spawner there. Okay, so let's duplicate all those. And then we'll drag them down into our unit spawners folder in our examples directory under the prefabs, so down here. And then we'll just rename them to example goblin necromancer spawner, example goblin spawner, example skeleton multi-spawner, and example skeleton warrior spawner. And then next we are going to create the units for them. So we have this goblin necromancer boss unit, and we'll want to make a duplicate of that and call him the example goblin necromancer boss unit, and then pull him down into the example AI directory there. And then our next spawner has all of these guys here, so we want to take the skeleton soldier unit, make a copy of him, pull him down into the AI directory, and make a copy of our Goblin Ranger unit, duplicate him, pull him down into the AI directory, and then we also need a copy of our Skeleton Slayer unit, and we will pull him down into the AI directory, and then we already have a zombie, so that's actually fine. Okay, let's just take a look. So I have my Goblin Ranger, Skeleton Slayer, Skeleton Soldier. I don't think I did the Skeleton Warrior yet. So we'll make a copy of the Skeleton Warrior unit, and we'll pull that down into the AI directory also. Okay, I think that's good. So these units all need some stuff on them. Like an animator, a character animation event receiver, and an UMA unit. So we'll add those components. Animators. Character animation event receivers. And then I'm just going to add the UMA stuff just by copying Sir Invincible here. Oh, yeah, whoops. We're about to accidentally create an UMA context in this level. Okay. I just have to wait for Unity to finish doing that. Yeah, let's go back to a level that has our UMA in it. So just the example load game manager, and then we won't have that issue. So back to these units here. Now I can click on Sir Invincible and it's fine. And then copy the dynamic character avatar component. I don't know if I can paste in multi-mode. Let's see if I can. Can I go paste component as new? Works on all four of them. Yes, cool. Looks like it does. Alright, that's good. So then we've got this issue here, basically, where I think, like, if I put these units in the game right now and I started it, I remember getting like a null reference last time because I didn't have this value filled in. So I actually want to do something about that. I want basically the game to automatically put the controller in here, and just basically use whatever controller is in there. So we actually want to change that from the old controller to the new one. And then we need to go and open up each of these units here and remove their models because we'll now be using UMA models. And just get rid of all those. Okay, that looks good. So now all of our guys have been converted to UMA models. And then we can go into their spawners and we can update the spawners to refer to the proper units. So our Goblin, oh, did I not? Goblin Necromancer boss, I have to add that stuff to him too. So let's just go do that right now. Goblin Necromancer boss, also paste component as new. and then add an animator, any character animation event receiver. And then change his animation controller to that one. And actually all of these guys here are going to need their attack animation profiles changed to the example human unarmed attacks now, because they're all using the UMA model. Okay, and that looks good. We just want to set their right, we need to remove the Goblin Necromancer bosses unit as well, and then set the character unit as himself. I don't think, actually, let me just check. I don't even think that's strictly necessary. I think this script is just going to try to find that on the current object by default. Let's just check that. Yeah, okay, we don't need to set that. That's only for basically you know what, yeah, that never needs to be set because it's done automatically. Okay, so that's good. We don't need to worry about that. Now let's go back to their spawners and set the right units in here. So instead of Goblin Necromancer boss, we have example Goblin Necromancer boss. Instead of Goblin Ranger, we have example. Oh, you know what? I need to rename those now. So this becomes example Goblin Ranger unit, and this becomes example Skeleton Slayer unit, example Skeleton Soldier unit, example Skeleton Warrior unit. And then we can go into their unit spawners and now refer to these guys properly. So Goblin Ranger unit, swap that out with the example one. Swap out the Skeleton Soldier units. Swap out the Skeleton Warrior units. And swap out, no, zombie's already fine. Okay, I think that was all. Yeah, okay, that was all we needed. So then now we just want to pull these into the scene, but let me just make sure there's nothing in here that needs to be changed to reference example anything. Yeah, okay, so this one needs example kill the ringleader and example kill 5 undead. And this one needs example defend the knights, example kill the ringleader, and example kill 5 undead. Hey, that's cool, Sergio. Grats on fixing the laptop. And now we need to go put those spawners in our scene. The Skeleton Warrior spawner, actually kind of want to do something about that. I actually want to make a new one. So I'm just going to create a cube here. And I'm going to add a box collider to it. Actually, I'm just going to copy, those components. Okay, no, we've already got a box collider on it. Great. So what I do want, though, is a partially transparent material. Because I want to be able to see through this when I walk into it. And then we can take the skeleton warrior spawner here, copy that, paste the component as new, and then we're going to copy the values from this one and then paste them onto that cube. Because basically what I'm doing is this is a trigger, basically a trigger collider here, and I want it to be visible so that you can see, like, before you walk into it, what it is. So we'll set the box size to the same as that, so 50, 10, 50. Okay, and I guess then we just set the box collider to 1, 1, 1, and then it matches the scale of the box. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm going to rename that to the example skeleton warrior spawner. I'm going to delete this example skeleton warrior spawner, and I'm going to make this one a prefab. Good. And now we've got a transparent skeleton warrior spawner. So if we go back to the Birch Grove scene, actually let's just remove that from there. We won't save that because we're just making a temporary thing in there. Okay, so if we go back to the Birch Grove scene here and we look at the skeleton goblin battle, we have these skeleton goblins pairs, but our goblin spawner over here is a little bit different. I think, yeah, it's got different conditions than the existing goblin spawner that we were using. So we're just going to rename this one to the skeleton battle goblin spawner, and then we'll make a prefab out of that as well. So pull that down onto the unit spawner, and then now we can pull down the skeleton goblin pair onto the unit spawners, and then I want to pull down a mouse goblin battle pair as well onto the unit spawners. And then the mouse spawner, we can select that, and I need to make a copy of that also. And then we'll call that the example mouse spawner. And then we'll pull that down into the unit. Okay, what just happened there? It froze up a little bit. I hope that made it into the right directory. What was the exact bug, Sergio, with the laptop? Example mouse spawner. Okay, no, it ended up there for some reason. Okay, let's pull that down in the unit spawner directory now. And then we actually need to make an example Knight of the Cheddar table unit. And we can pull him down into the AIs here. Oops. And then add the right components to him. Oh wow, yeah, that would be not a very fun bug when your system keeps doing stuff like that. So this gets to be our human unarmed attacks. This gets to be our new animation controller. Then we add our character animation event receiver, as well as an animator component. And then let's remember to go back to our example load game manager. Where are my knights? There are my knights. Okay. Squeak a lot, sneak a lot, mix a lot, and you know what? Fish a lot needs to go into my knights of the cheddar table. Okay, there we go. So let's make a squeak a lot here. Pull him in. We'll make an AI unit out of him, and then we need basically fish a lot, mix a lot, and squeak a lot. Or was it sneak a lot? Whatever. I'll make duplicates of all of them. And now we can pull all those guys down into the AI units as well. And you know, while we're at it, why not just get ready to do all of the units? So we have rot golems. We'll just make copies of them too, because we need rot golems eventually, because they're part of the game too. So we'll move all those down into the AI unit as well. And then the last one is the Earthborn Troll unit. So we'll copy him and move him down into there as well. And I think that's all the units that we're going to need. So let's grab our Earthborn Troll, fish a lot. Okay, there we go. I got 2 squeak-a-lots. I'm just going to delete that one because it's actually this one that I'm using. So now we can go into all the units basically that have 1s after them, because that means we haven't fixed them yet. And I don't think, no, we have fixed Knight of the Cheddar table, maybe. So we'll add our animators, add the character animation event receivers, then we can go back into the example load game manager. I guess we need to save this because we did move somebody down under a different prefab. Yeah, the 4 gigs of RAM on the other laptop, that might be a little hard to make like run Unity on if you have a big project. Okay, so we want now to add the dynamic character avatar component. So we're going to copy that component, and then we're going to grab all the units that don't have it on it, which I think includes this Knight of the Cheddar table. No dynamic character avatar on him. Okay, so we'll add it to Squeak-a-lot, Sneak-a-lot, Rock Golem, Mix-a-lot, Fish-a-lot, Earthborn Troll. Paste component is new. Okay, and now I can just, actually, you know what, before that, let's just open up all these prefabs now, and we got to get rid of the Guardian Mouse models here. And open up the Rock Golem, get rid of his model. Open up Mix-a-lot, get rid of his model. Open up Fish-a-lot, get rid of his model. Open up example Knight of the Cheddar table, get rid of his model. Open up example Earthborn Troll, get rid of his model. Okay, and just make sure these guys are all using, yeah, we need to fix their attack profiles here. So Knight of the Cheddar table, Earthborn Troll, Fish-a-lot, Mix-a-lot, Rock Golem, Sneak-a-lot, and Squeak-a-lot can all get example human unarmed attacks here. And the animation controller should be the AnyRPG character animation controller. And that should be okay. So now we're done with them, so we'll rename them to example units. Okay, good. And now basically we can take our spawners. So we have our example goblin spawner, looks okay. Example mouse spawner needs the example Knight of the Cheddar table. Example skeleton spawner needs the example zombie unit. The mouse goblin battle pair needs not a mouse spawner and a goblin spawner, but an example mouse spawner and an example goblin spawner. And this should be renamed to example mouse goblin battle pair. And yeah, there we go. Okay. Oh, I think those are like on top of each other. Okay, good. So then we'll just get rid of those two, and now our most goblin battle pair are properly close to each other, and then let's keep on looking and making sure these are all okay. So then we have the skeleton goblin pair, and we'll rename that to example skeleton goblin pair. So we need an example skeleton multi-spawner, and an example skeleton battle goblin spawner. Hey, Sergio. Oh, okay. Sorry, my thing says concurrent viewers is doesn't have anybody on it, but I see your comments there. Um, to answer your question about racing games, I don't play them a lot, but one of my favorite racing games of all time was Gran Turismo. And the reason that I like that one so much, like this was like way back, I think, for like the original PlayStation or PS2 or something, was that like when you adjusted things on your car, like if you know you got like a carbon fiber hood or something like that, it actually made the car feel lighter and it actually impacted the physics of the game. Um, I find like I actually have never played another racing game other than Gran Turismo that has the same kind of good physics as it. Every other racing game I've played, the cars always feel like they're sliding around sort of unrealistically, like the tires don't have enough grip or that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, Gran Turismo was the only game I ever found where the physics like really felt real. Like it felt like driving like a real car, pretty much. Um, if I was gonna add, like, I actually wouldn't mind adding, you know, like vehicle combat or vehicles like to the engine, but I'd want to make sure I do it properly so that it's physics based, which means I'd have to write my own physics because like I don't think like Unity just doesn't really handle that stuff very well. When it comes to like complex objects or anything other than cubes and spheres and cylinders, at least that I'm aware of. So if we look at this skeleton battle goblin spawner, okay, good, it's the right one. It's in our example directory here. So we want to pull the example one in, and then let's see, we'll just put these both at like the 0 position. And then hit F to focus on them, and then they're like right on top of each other now, so we'll just separate them by a little bit here. Okay, good. So now I think, let's see, we have example skeleton. What am I looking for? I want the example goblin battle spawner. Ah, there we go. Now I just got to switch this guy to the example goblin ranger unit. And actually, let me just open that prefab directly. And what we want to do is change that to example kill the ringleader and example kill 5 undead. That looks okay now. Um, I haven't done a lot of gaming recently. Like I actually like all my gaming subscriptions right now are canceled, just because I've been focusing on building rather than playing games mostly. Okay, so now we need to go back into our example combat scene here, and I think we're ready to like pretty much fill this level out with all the spawners and stuff that we need. So let's create an empty object, and we're going to call it cemetery spawners. Let's see, the bunny spawners are right here, the zombie spawners are over there, so we can put our cemetery spawners, like, I don't know, maybe up in this corner here. And then we want to put in some, yeah, Sergio, the CPU on my computers, it's like the one thing that I will absolutely never go cheap on, because if your CPU is the bottleneck, like your entire system is going to run slow. And I've noticed with anything less than like 8 logical cores, yeah, I've noticed anything less than 8 logical cores, you tend to get a lot of slowdowns, especially because like basically what happens is when you look at your task list here, you see like all these processes running, right? There's like literally like hundreds of them, and your computer has got to swap all these processes between your available cores. So by doubling your core count, you literally cut by 50% the amount of process swapping that has to go on. And that's it's a pretty big deal. It actually, like, it really adds up in terms of performance. So we have our not mouse goblin but skeleton goblin pair. So let's pull one of those in here, and we'll just put that at the 000 of that. And then we need the skeleton warrior spawner as well, and we'll just put that to 000. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's nice. I like it. That's nice and visible. You can see what's going on. Actually, I think what I'm going to do then is I'm actually going to move the skeleton goblin battle pairs over a little bit, like that. And I think maybe I'll just like line them up in a row or something. So duplicate that, pull it over there a little bit, duplicate that, pull it over there a little bit, duplicate that, pull it over some more. And then we need the, let's see, the skeleton multi-spawner, so we'll drag one of those into our cemetery spawners, also moving it back to 000, and we'll pull it down there and over here, and one more, and one more. That looks good. To answer the question about the online options, I was looking at Unity networking, and they've got like a networking capability called UNet, and then like an older networking capability as well. So like you can definitely build in networking capability, and that's actually like going to be the next step after I finish all the core stuff for the engine, is build in networking capability so that you can like play with your friends and go through the dungeons together and stuff. When it comes to the actual architecture for like say a massively multiplayer online, I think they do have a hosted service. I'm just really not sure that it would be like great. And I'm a big believer in systems that are like sort of agnostic to the platform that you're on, which means that what I'd like to do eventually is like for a mail system, for example, like in an MMO, you want a mail system that really scales. So I would probably actually design the mail system using something like Amazon Simple Notification Service or Simple Queue Service or something, or the Google equivalents of those, so that you could basically run the game like on any cloud provider you want. But for the actual networking for that, I'm not too sure. I haven't looked into, like, I mean, you'd have to basically build your own custom like server to run in the cloud like that if you weren't going to use the Unity one. I think, let's see, so we have two more groups of people. We need to make also the mine spawners. So we'll create an empty here and we'll call that the mine spawners. And then, oh, you know what I don't have is my earthborn troll spawner. Yeah, I need to make a copy of that. So we're going to duplicate the earthborn. No, you know what? We're not even going to duplicate it because it is like exactly. Yeah, no, actually we will duplicate it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so earthborn troll spawner. We'll call that the example earthborn troll spawner. To answer the question about like donations and stuff, I don't have a Patreon account set up yet, but I eventually like would get one. Like if people wanted to donate, I'd definitely set up a Patreon account. But mostly, like the purpose of this project, I'm just like a huge fan of open source, and there's a lot of things that I think like they're solved problems. People have done them hundreds of times, and it doesn't really make sense for like hundreds of developers to be reinventing the wheel. A really good example of this is like Linux as an operating system, right? It's free. It's a solved problem. At the time when Linux was created, there wasn't a lot of basically you had to pay for an operating system like a ton of money, and you know, Linus came along and basically said, hey, this has been a solved problem, hundreds of people have done this, why isn't there a free version of this, and just went and built it. And that's sort of my approach with this. You know, I'm like, role-playing games are a solved problem. There's no reason why there shouldn't be a good engine on the market for this. There's no reason why people should have to reinvent this stuff like by themselves. So that's really more my motivation in doing this. Also, I wanted to create a game, and I really believe that there's no point in paying for something that you can design or develop yourself. And I looked at this and thought, hey, yeah, I can definitely do that myself, and it's a good example to learn as well. So we want to grab the example earthborn troll unit here and pop him into his example earthborn troll spawner, and then we want to pull that down into the unit spawners here. And then in this example combat scene, I'm going to do basically the same thing I did with the skeleton spawner. So let's actually make a duplicate of that skeleton spawner, unpack that prefab completely, pull it down into the mine spawners, rename it to example earthborn troll spawner, and then copy it like over, move it like over there. Actually, I want this one to be a lot smaller, so let's make that actually 25 by 25 by 10. So like the industry that I work in general is like IT. I tend to shift between like software development or like DevOps engineering type jobs. And then we'll kill the unit spawn node from there, and we'll grab those parameters from our example earthborn troll spawner right here. So copy that component and paste component as new, and that's pretty good, I think. So then I'm actually going to delete the existing example earthborn troll spawner and then make this as the new one right here. Actually, let's just go look over at our skeleton warrior spawner, because I have a feeling, yeah, it's interesting. It looks like he's actually like below the ground. That's a little better. Oh yeah, right, of course Y5. Yeah, that's because, yep, that's better. And the same thing here. If this is 10, that's why. Y is minus 13 on there. Yeah, okay, there we go. Now that looks a little better. No, maybe this Y does need to be 0 after all. Okay. No, Canadian, actually, not American. So, like, basically, I mean, job titles are really flexible. I've been in a job where my title was like software engineer, but I was actually doing like automation work, creating Amazon machine images and stuff. At the same time, I've been in jobs where my title was system engineer, and all I did was develop like tools in Python or such. I just like building stuff. It doesn't really matter to me whether it's like infrastructure or software, especially like if it's fun or challenging. So next up, we need to add a rock golem unit. Right, I don't have rock golem spawners. I think my rock golem units in Birch Grove are actually literally just like in the level. Let me just go confirm that. Oh, no, 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 wait a minute, it's Crystal Mine. So, Crystal Mine. I live in Canada. Oh, we do have rock golem spawners. Okay. What do you know? Well, let's select those and make a duplicate of it. Call it example rock golem spawner. Okay, that's good. And then switch that out for example rock golem unit. And then we'll want to put those in our example combat scene. So back to the example combat scene. And into the mine spawners here, we want to grab those example golem spawners. And move them to the 0, 0, 0 point of their parent, and then let's see, put some over there, and maybe right there, and then another one, move it like right here, and maybe like a fourth one, and that should be pretty good. And then the very last thing that I need to do is the mouse battle. So we'll create a new empty and we'll call it the mouse goblin battle, and we'll move it like down here, and then we can put a mouse goblin battle pair into it, and let's just see. Yeah, looks good. So then right there, maybe right there, right there, right there, and right there. And then in the very back corner here, I'm going to put the goblin necromancer spawner. And we'll pull it back here. I wonder, like, if I had a mesh collider. No, okay, I can't do that directly. Revert that, okay. I think maybe we'll just keep the goblin necromancer spawner invisible for now. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think we're almost ready to start that. I guess what we need to do now is we need to go back into the example default scene, and then we've got like all these units over here. We should add the mice units too. So we have the example fish-a-lot unit. We'll just put them right there for now. Example mix-a-lot unit can stand over there. And then example sneak-a-lot back here, and example squeak-a-lot over here. And I just realized what we also need is we need the most prefabs. But for now, I feel like actually jumping in and trying to play this for a second just to see if everything we did is okay so far. Actually, there's one thing right here. I think we still need to fix this bug. Yeah, sorry, Sergio. I used to like I'm a bit of a night owl, and when I used to play Warcraft, I had some friends who lived in like Japan and Australia, and it's funny because like I was always up at night and they were always up like during their daytime, and we ended up just playing together, just because I was basically on like Australia time pretty much. Okay, let's go into. Okay, you know what's going to happen? I bet this is actually going to get a no reference error when we go in, and I just want to confirm that. So we'll go to the example load game manager here. And hit play. And what do we want to do here? We want to load up. Okay, we want to load up our test game right here. So we'll load that up. And no null reference errors so far, huh? Let's see, go into the console, nothing. Okay. I guess, cool. Let's go to our combat zone. Wow. Yeah, okay. What do we have there? Wow. I got too close to one of these rock golems as well. My fire spell. Boom. Oh, wow. Stack Overflow exception. Nice. Yeah, this target AoE hit thing right here. This was a Stack Overflow exception we got into last time. What I want to see... Okay, this is coming from get valid targets. Let's put a debug message in there. I want to see what ability is causing that, basically, because I think I made a mistake where I may have created like a circular reference with my AoE abilities, causing every hit to perform another AoE, which would basically just keep on bouncing back and forth until you get this Stack Overflow. So let's jump out of the game, and I noticed that my skeleton soldier spawner was spawning a skeleton soldier unit still rather than an UMA unit. So let's take a look at that as well. So we'll go into the example combat scene, and then the cemetery spawners here, and the example skeleton goblin pair has an example there. That's what's wrong. So we need to open up this prefab right here and just change that out for the example skeleton slayer unit instead. Okay, that's a little better. And yeah, I guess that's okay. So let's save that. And you know what, actually, what else I want to do here? I think this level is a little small. Like, my character's like way too close to these guys. So let's make it like 200 by 200. And then we can move these guys a little bit farther apart so we don't end up with like this crazy aggro happening so easily. There, maybe that'll be a little better here. And then if we look at the skeleton goblin battle pairs, they're all over there. And then I think I actually want to pull all the just skeletons over there away so we can have some skeletons that are maybe far enough to not aggro and mob the battling units. So percent completed of any RPG, that's a good question. It kind of depends on what you consider complete. So I have basically like a potential development roadmap here. It actually would be kind of cool if I had like a Jira board or something. If you know of like a good Jira type plugin for like WordPress, that would be neat. So I could actually make these into tickets and track like velocity and stuff. But basically, this right here is pretty much all the stuff that I want to add into it. And then we have this and this. So I don't know, like the beta single player version of it, probably maybe about 40% done. I think maybe 50. But it's hard to tell just because this actually, this is like my first gaming project, and a lot of the times I'm really bad at estimating how long stuff is going to take. You think like it's going to be simple, and then you run into some interesting behavior in Unity that you have to figure out. And like I've literally spent like probably over 100 hours just trying to figure out weird things with like the Unity character controllers or like the way it handles coroutines and stuff like that. So I think that's good for the new setup for the combat scene. Let's try to test that again, and maybe this time we'll get like a log message telling us what what spell we were casting when we got that Stack Overflow error. So let's go back into our console. And then over to our combat level. Yeah, okay. I guess the nav mesh doesn't auto expand. So example combat scene. Yeah, we have to rebake that. There, that's better. Now that should fix that error. I haven't seen Roblox games before. Basically, like just not being a graphic designer, I decided that the best thing to do was just go with like a really, really simple sort of transparent look for everything. I find like when you start adding colors, it's really, really easy to go wrong and get like an ugly color scheme. But if you keep everything sort of like black, white, and grayscale, it's a little harder to go wrong with it. If you look at like the video of the very first preview I did, I think, everything is like brown and it just looks terrible. Wow, those guys have a huge aggro range. Okay, so we have, these guys should say goblins. Yeah, okay, cool, we do. We have goblin rangers. So that's good. They're all fighting with each other. Yeah, looks good. Okay, good. So let's start killing them now. And let's see, I shoot a fireball. I shoot another fireball. I think it might be, what is this, the blast of light? No. Weird, I still can't get this Stack Overflow happening here. Okay, I have to change the loot tables on these guys, basically. And I need to change their names too, because I'm not getting credit for killing them. And what's interesting about this like transparent thing here is that it's not looking very transparent. So let's go fix all that stuff. Flying, it's not in the game yet. It's honestly like it's pretty easy to add flying. Basically, all you just have to do is pretty much just disable gravity on your unit as soon as he's in the air. So it doesn't actually take much to add it, but I want to add basically like flying and mounting at the same time after I get some more abilities, or I mean the ability system added to the NPCs. So let's go to our AI units here and let's see. So we weren't getting kill credit for any of the example undead here. So let's see if we can figure out why. Probably due to the fact that their factions are not set. Right, and of course the unit frame targets need to be head on these guys as well. Okay, so that's the skeleton slayer. Same thing for the skeleton soldier. And example undead as well. And then we got to do the same thing for the skeleton warrior. Like a second computer, like what do you mean, like a testing machine, or? I think we probably need to change all of our characters here as well, right? And they all need their unit frame target set to head. Yeah, okay. Let's see, maybe. Yeah, okay, we'll change all of these at once. Sneak a lot, squeak a lot. Oh yeah, actually, I guess we do need to individually do that. Okay, so, wow, lots of stuff to change there. Example cheese. Oops. And we need to change that to example Knights of the Cheddar Table. Yeah, I mean, I've got like a crappy laptop with a dead battery that has to remain plugged in to be usable. It takes forever to start up. Okay, I think everything here that is supposed to say example now does. Oh yeah, except for now we need to give him all the quests as well. Okay, that looks good. And that needs to be changed to head. And then his faction needs to be updated as well. Okay, wow, there's a lot of stuff to change on Sneak-a-Lot there. Okay, so now looking at Squeak-a-Lot, I think I actually need to do like all the same stuff on him. Change that to head, and this stuff I think can be changed to 0 and 0.66. Defend the knights. thumb. Alright, that looks okay. And then let's see, mix-a-lot, we need to change a few things as well, likely. And he has the, whoops, babies got back bacon quest here. And we need to change those. And that looks okay. And then I noticed when yeah, there we go. My goblins were dropping non-example items. So we need to swap all those out for the example versions. And that looks okay. And then I'm going to make sure as well, I don't know if I changed the loot tables. Yeah, no, I totally didn't. Okay. I need to fix the loot tables on these units also. Change them out for the example versions. And change that to example life tether. Change that to example 10 silver. Alright, and we need to do pretty much all the same stuff for our skeleton soldier. And add the word example to all that stuff. Okay, and same thing for our skeleton warrior. And small glowing crystal. And add the word example to those. Swap that for, whoops, greater condensed elemental death. Add the word example to all that stuff. And then change all these out for the example items. change this out for an example item. Okay, that looks okay. So now I think, let's see, Knight of the Cheddar table. They don't really have loot tables, so I don't think we need to change anything, although this does need to be changed. We need to set that to match up with the proper position that we expect for our UMA units. Yeah, and we also need to change their faction. Okay. And actually we need to do the same thing for this example Goblin Ranger. Change up his head as well. And our example Goblin Necromancer, same issue. Change those to the values we expect for an UMA unit. And change that up, 20 slot bag. Okay, and I wonder, do we have the same issue? Yeah, the Earthborn Troll. We need to change up all of his values to be, whoops, compatible with what we expect with the UMA stuff. Condensed Elemental Earth. And I think we likely will have to do the same thing for the Rock Golem as well. Okay, that looks good. And let's go down to the Rock Golem unit. Condensed Elemental Earth. Okay, that looks all right. So I think that's got it. I think that's all the units we need to make adjustments to for now. So let's try loading the game again. And let's see if we can actually get kill credit for killing those guys now. Okay, so we need to kill example skeleton or undead, right? So we'll just start firing fireballs at them. And oh, whoa. Okay, this time we're not even getting a stack overflow. I think I've actually managed to crash Unity completely. Like completely freeze it up in an infinite loop. So let's take a look here. If I look at my task manager, it's funny because Unity is like, it's still running, but I can't pause it. Like I can hit like Control P, Control Shift P. Nothing is happening. Basically, I think at this point I pretty much have to just like see if I hit close window. Also, same deal. Nothing happens. So yeah, this is why you always hit file save before you hit play in Unity, because Unity can get itself into a state where it is crashed, it's in some sort of infinite loop, and it's not because you've got like a silly infinite loop in your game, like, you know, while true, just infinitely do some weird stuff. It's because you can end up with these like complex loops that are the result of interactions between a bunch of different things. And looking like at this stack trace of what happened last time here, you can see like it's an AoE hit that you know launches an AoE cast, which launches an ability effect, which launches a perform ability effects, which launches more ability hits, which launches another perform AoE hit. And so, you know, we jump through a whole pile of routines basically before we actually get back to the original one. And Unity is incapable of basically being broken out of this type of situation right here. So there's literally nothing we can do. Our option is basically force close Unity, and uh, Lunity. I like that. Maybe it's Lunity because it's loony that it allows you to get into a state like this, and not exit the game in the editor. I mean, we're in the editor. There's no reason why this thing shouldn't be able to just stop the game that it's running. So literally end task. Awesome. Thank you, Unity, for being so dependable. So we're just gonna have to pretty much reload that. And then go in and try to figure out like what caused that. And because this project is so big, this loading process is going to take a while here. Okay, good. No, we're not quite back in yet. I think it's still loading. I can't actually do anything. I'm trying to click and move this, but it's like frozen. Oh, no, now we can. Okay, good. We're back online. All right, so let's just take a look. Like, I have a feeling I know what was causing that. So we have an ability here, which is a direct ability called Blast of Light. And when we cast that, our ability effect is the example Blast of Light AoE. And that puts a solar burn dot on any enemy that it hits. Our solar burn dot performs a dot tick attack, which does not launch any additional effects. So that doesn't seem like that could be the culprit. Let's look at the other abilities that I was casting there. There was a fireball ability. So example fireball. pull the console out onto the other monitor here. And that way, like you can't see the console here right now, but if the game crashes in game mode or freezes in game mode again, I'll have the console on the other monitor, so I'll at least be able to see like where we got to. Because if it freezes, and the console is like behind the game window, then you're sort of like out of luck. There's no way for you to get back to the thing and see what's in the console window, because Unity becomes completely unresponsive. So let's go in and see if we can get close to reproducing that bug, and hopefully without Unity freezing up, hopefully with maybe a Stack Overflow this time, and maybe we'll see what's causing the issues. So let's go into our combat scene. And oh, Earth Pulse. Is that what I shot at them? You know what? That might be the issue. Let's take a look at Earth Pulse here. So Earth Pulse puts an Earth Pulse dot on the character. The Earth Pulse dot performs an Earth Pulse dot tick attack, which does some damage. So then if we go back to the Earth Pulse and go back to the Earth Pulse dot, and on the completion of the Earth Pulse dot, we perform an Earth Pulse AoE. The Earth Pulse AoE performs the Earth Pulse AoE attack, which is itself just a single target attack. No, weird. Okay, nothing. No, just single target. Just does some damage. Weird. Okay, so maybe it's not the Earth Pulse that's doing that. Let's just start shooting fireballs at somebody here. Okay. I don't see anything in my logs yet about multiple people. Okay. Looking in my logs, my Blast of Light AoE asked for get valid targets once so far. And that's like, this was one of those things that was in the stack last time we got our Stack Overflow, but we've only hit it once so far. So I don't think, I don't know, that might not be the culprit, might be the culprit. Let's keep looking. No, see, it worked that time. We got a whole pile of guys, they just all died. We got all the credit for it. Now, it actually does look like this AoE effect it looks like it was starting to try to go a little crazy. So let's go take a look like back at that Blast of Light. Oh, I was looking at regular blast of light, wasn't I? Maybe. If I look at example blast of light, I do example blast of light AoE. No, that's solar burn dot. Hmm. Because like what I notice is when I hit the target with blast of light, we saw way more damage happening like way more quickly than it should have. So like why is that happening basically? Okay, let's loot all these guys. And actually that looks good. It looks like we properly fixed the looting problem. Let's let them all respawn. Goblins are coming up. Skeletons are not coming up. Anyway, if I hit this guy with Blast of Light, let's see if I hit. I guess I gotta aggro these guys to get them close enough together. Okay, so let's see. I hit that guy with Blast of Light, and it looks like they're actually going down at the proper rate. Yeah, I'm only seeing three of these things spawn at a time. That's definitely having trouble reproducing this crash here. Okay, there we go. Good. So now we've got some more units. See, when does it happen? It's like it doesn't happen until I've got a fireball or something. Or is it the Earth Pulse? Ah, okay, good. Well, now we know. The game froze up after the Earth Pulse. So I thought we checked out the Earth Pulse. Okay, no, Unity is completely frozen up again, so I'm just gonna have to force close this using my task manager and reload the game again. So this means we need to go back and check out the Earth Pulse because something is happening there that I missed. Basically, I think when the Earth Pulse is exploding, it's trying to cast more Earth Pulses. Also, log entries don't get printed until the end of the frame, and since the frame never ends, I never actually got to see those log entries on the other screen in my console. So much for that plan. but it definitely was the earth pulse that was messing with us here. So we are going to look at example earth pulse and then try to trace this again. So basically, earth pulse causes the earth pulse dot, which is okay. We saw that it was working fine. The earth pulse dot does the earth pulse dot tick, which is also fine. I think it's the earth pulse AOE here that's messing with us. So when we run this earth pulse AOE, well, that's odd. Just a second. This is an AOE effect. That's infinite. How did I miss that before? Maybe I was looking at the wrong earth pulse. maybe I was not looking at the example earth pulse. Okay, let's try this again. So regular earth pulse goes to earth pulse dot, has earth pulse dot tick effect and earth pulse AOE. Earth pulse AOE goes to earth pulse AOE attack. That's how I missed this before. I made a really silly mistake and I was looking at the regular earth pulse. So earth pulse AOE is supposed to go earth pulse AOE attack on the hit ability effect list. So let's try not to make an infinite loop. I should probably put something in the code to prevent this too. Basically, like an ability should never be able to call itself, because that is definitely one way of creating an infinite loop. So maybe we can fix that in the code as well. In the meantime, let's go back to our example earth pulse. Go to the earth pulse dot. When it completes, it fires example earth pulse AOE, and this is where I made like a click error last time. It's supposed to be earth pulse AOE attack in this hit ability effect list. But you know what would be cool? I think what would be cool is if we tested this and made sure that like we couldn't make it happen again accidentally. So there is some code in the AOE effect, and it's going to, let's see, performability hits. Yeah, here, okay. So we're going to basically perform our AOE hits. And I think this is where we're going to go down a performability hit. Which is performability effects. Okay, right here. For each ability effect in ability effect list, perform ability effect. Okay, so now basically we need to add sort of like, this is our circuit breaker right here. What we want to do is basically make sure that the ability effect isn't the current ability that we're on. So let's make an if statement here and basically go if ability effect.myName, and we actually have a special system resource manager thing here that can do this. I think it was system resource manager.match resource, and this will take care of all the name mungling that we need to do to get rid of special characters and such. So we'll match the resource ability effect.myname with my name, which is the current ability effects name. And if these two things match, at this point, let's actually do, let's do a log error. We're going to halt the game, and we're going to halt the game intentionally to let the developer know that they have accidentally created a circular reference. So we can't detect like advanced circular references where we're going through like 7 abilities and getting back to ourselves, but we can prevent an ability from casting itself again, which is what we want. So circular reference detected, tried to cast self. Okay, that should be good. Now there are basically three ways we can get to this code. We did it through performability hit, performability tick, and performability complete. So let's just go to each of these and make sure that we can't basically recast ourselves anytime. So performability tick goes to performability tick effects, which goes to performability effects, which we already put in there. Okay, so that's really good because we have basically this base performability effects, and we can just like we can cast in, or I mean send in the ability effect list. So that's good. And then we just want to make sure that this applies to perform ability complete as well. So go to definition, performability complete effects. Pretty sure this is just going to land us back at the same method, which is still protecting us. Okay, awesome. So that's really good. We should theoretically be able to protect ourselves against these types of circular references now. So let's go in and do something a little scary. Let's test that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to redirect this AoE effect back to itself again. We are going to re-enable that bug. Example Earth Pulse AoE tries to cast example Earth Pulse AoE, creating our Stack Overflow or our infinite loop there. So let's launch the game. Make sure we save everything because we're going to lose all our data if this didn't work and if the game crashes again. Okay, so we go play, load game. We are going to load this guy up, and we're going to run him over to our example combat level. And we're going to turn around and go watch a bunch of goblins and skeletons run at each other. And then we're going to find some guy in the middle of the group and we're going to cast Earth Pulse on him and it's going to blow up. And okay, awesome. This is good. This is amazing. This is perfect because what did we just get? But debug.log error stopped the game, prevented this reference from happening, and gave us a nice error message. Let's make this just like a little bit more obvious to our players, but this is good. We have prevented ourselves from creating this circular reference. Tried to cast self. Check inspector and fix ability effect configuration. I always like to, check inspector. Basically, this is what's going to tell them, like, hey, this is something I can go fix in the inspector. Yeah. Okay, good. So now let's go back and actually fix that object. So we don't want Earth Pulse AoE casting Earth Pulse AoE. We want Earth Pulse AoE casting Earth Pulse AoE attack. There we go. Awesome. So now we have theoretically fixed that bug. Let's just go back in, cast Earth Pulse AoE, and see what's happening here. So play, load game, go back to our player, run into the combat level, turn around, find our goblins, let the skeletons and goblins all aggro each other, throw an Earth Pulse into the middle of the group. 3, 2, 1, kapow. Yeah, that's exactly what we want to see. And I'm just going to keep on casting Earth Pulses on like everybody here. So, casting Earth Pulses, casting Earth Pulses. They all got Earth Pulses on them. They're all like blowing up. Yeah, good. Okay. We are not crashing the game anymore. Now I need to check because let's see here. Our skeletons are not respawning as quickly as the goblins are there. So let me just take a look at our spawner pairs here. If I go into our example unit spawner and I have our example skeleton goblin pair and I look at our skeleton multi-spawner, oh wow, our despawn timer is 60. Ah, right. Okay. And our goblin has a despawn timer of 5. Okay, makes sense. Our skeletons are a little slow on the respawn. And originally the reason I did that in the graveyard was because I wanted to give some time to clear out the graveyard without having the mobs despawning over top of you. But for the purpose of this example level, we actually want them spawning rather quickly. So that's all good. We'll just hit them with that, maybe an Earth Pulse. Actually, you know what? Let's try all our spells. Fireball, Fireball AoE, boom. Yeah, okay. Let's try that again. Fireball AoE. Still only hits one guy. Sure, that's good. Still waiting for our goblins to respawn here. Oh, I heard a sound effect. Big Fireball. Okay. Our example Big Fireball needs to have its sound effect removed from it when it hits. Yeah, there we go. And get rid of that. That looks okay. unpause. We still haven't killed the undead. I guess we're still waiting for all our skeletons to respawn here. I think maybe another 60 seconds. There we go. We got skeletons. Awesome. Okay, big fireball, fireball AoE. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. And finally, they are all done in. Okay, and they're all burning to death. Perfect. So let's go in here. Our skeleton warrior, he properly has the toughness rating we wanted him to. You can see he's considerably tougher than the other mobs. He's got like 3,300 hit points, like twice as much as I do. So I don't know where my abilities are, and he can hit me fairly. Whoa. Okay, we got another null reference exception. Let's whoops. Let's pause the game. You know what I'm gonna do? Actually, I'm just gonna save that right now because I don't want to go through the trouble of killing all those other undead again. And then I'm gonna pop out and just check right here. So basically, Control AKF will fix the formatting there, and then so apparently we can have an array of renderers that are null. So basically, if renderer does not equal null, then we can do that. And I suppose basically we should probably also perform a check that and original materials dot contains key renderer, because I mean if we don't have that key in there and we try to access it, then we might have issues. So let's save that and let's go jump back into the game here. Oops. File save, and then let's see what happens. Okay, play, load game, combat scene. Okay. Oh, that's a skeleton warrior, no wonder. Oh, I was like, man, this guy's really beating me up badly. I forgot without his typical skeleton warrior graphic on. I gotta find some healing spells here. Let's see, I don't have like a heal icon. Ooh, there we go, warming ray. Gotta heal myself, and that's a little better. Do I have like a ice icon? Nope. Ooh. Okay. I remember I had I told myself I was going to make a Blizzard Aura prefab eventually, and it looks like I forgot to do that. So we have actually like the original Blizzard Aura. Let's see, how loud is that? I think that's a little loud maybe. Okay, let's just kill this skeleton warrior here. And then we can get on with our quest. So let's grab the bag. I'm just going to cancel that Blizzard Aura to get rid of that noise. A small glowing crystal, accept. We're going to equip that bag. Good. All right. That's good. So now we have completed that quest. The small glowing crystal quest, we're actually going to have to go and create a prefab for that back in our regular level. So we'll go back to our portal here. We'll teleport back to our default scene. Cool, and now I think what I'll do is basically, like, we've completed sort of the graveyard portion of this quest for now, and we're getting on almost 2 hours here. So I think I'm going to end this stream here, and then when I pick up next time, we'll do the part of the quest chain dealing with the golems. And because we've already added the prefabs, hopefully we can just go straight in and do the mouse part of the quest chain too. There's just like a couple more mouse prefabs and such to add. So I think I'm good with that for today. And as always, thank you for joining. And if you like this type of content and you want to see more of it in the future, then subscribe to the Cohesion YouTube channel, thumbs up the videos, or just leave a note in the comments telling me what you'd like to see. So take care, and I'll see you guys next time.